Hey guys, welcome back to DemDMs. I'm Panda Ghost. This is the third character interview for our upcoming play series, Secrets of Garia. If that interests you, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later. Today will be Kabon's character, so if everyone's ready, let's slide on in. Alright Kabon, can you please give me a brief description of who your character is and what is their profession?
My character's name is Sovellis Amastacia, but you can call him Sovel for short. He is, or was, a healer in his home elven village, of druidic, like a druidic group of sorts. Unfortunately, due to an incident that was out of his control and but the people blamed it on him, he was basically forced into exile, because his village effectively was more focused on, the power of nature and, its healing properties and all of that sort of stuff. However, at one point in time, he has sort of discovered, the more the properties of fire that most people in his village were used to. And at the time, there was a fire that burned down a good amount of buildings in the village, and it was blamed on him because he was the only other one that had that kind of connection with fire, and there was no other evidence to prove otherwise, so he was exiled. But that didn't seem to faze him any.
Yeah, I noticed in your character art that he's kind of a smiley guy, right?
Yeah, no matter what happens to him, he actually never frowns. Like, no one in his life has ever seen him frown. It's always a smile. Like, you can insult him all you want. He'll just react with a big old smile, and he'll just sort of nod.
The ever optimist of the group, then, it sounds like.
Kind of. He's an optimist, don't get me wrong, but he also has some trouble interacting with others socially, even among his village. He won't really see anything as a slight against him, even though it would be obvious. So even if you give him an insult, he'll just be like, yes.
Gotcha. All right. Sweet. Yeah, and since he's from this druid circle, then, he's kind of gonna be, not always knowing of the ways of the of society, right? I'll be interesting to see how that plays out with, him doing something that isn't a societal norm, and then someone getting mad at maybe insulting him.
Yeah, and he'll more than likely just brush it off, but yeah, he hasn't really traveled far outside of his village before he was exiled, so he's completely out of his element no matter where he goes, even though, oddly enough, nature's all around him, so he's kind of content with that anyway.
So is that kind of his big motivation for adventuring, or is there more to the adventuring than just that?
A little bit. He wants to preserve, the facets of nature, to sort of get the word out there about, its healing properties and all of that stuff. But because of the fact that he also has more of a connection with fire now, he just sort of wants to dissuade the notion that fire is inherently a destructive force, and it can be beneficial, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I take it that also then kind of ties into his life goals then, right?
Yeah. Effectively his life goal is to... he hasn't really had a lot of time to really contemplate, his main goal in life, a big life goal, ever since he did get exiled. But as, definitely he wants to travel as much of the world as he can to spread the word as far as possible, and figure out what else he can learn along the way, as well as spreading his knowledge as far as he can.
Yep, I think that is a noble life goal for your character to pursue. So then I think you kind of already touched on it, but is there anything else, I guess, that haunts your character, or like a personality flaw that he has? I mean, you mentioned being kicked out of his community.
He definitely would like to know how that transpired in the first place, because he doesn't know what happened. Everyone else is convinced he was responsible. So if at any point he gets a lead to it, he would definitely want to pursue that. But considering how far he's probably traveled since then, who knows when that'll happen. But he's more or less focusing currently on just, effectively being a pilgrim and just sort of spreading trying to spread his influence on the power of fire and such.
Gotcha.
And when it comes to character flaws, I'd say, well, you know how you have this druid that is all about preserving nature and the like. Imagine if he also had a hint of being a pyromaniac without wanting to be, he doesn't want to admit it to himself, but it's kind of there.
He's at odds with himself.
Yes, basically. Like he's definitely wanting to preserve nature and all its everything about it, but he just also really likes fire.
Gotcha.
But part of it is also based on his belief that when it comes to making something better, it's usually better to break it down completely first and then just basically replace it, if that makes sense. Kind of like when a phoenix dies, it rises from the ashes. It doesn't just regenerate, you know what I mean?
Or how pine trees, when they drop their pine cones, sometimes it helps release the seeds or whatever. Or at least
Precisely.
That's what I've heard about.
Yeah.
But all right. Is there anything else you want to add about your character?
He hopes he gets to make a lot of friends along the way.
All right. Well then, guys, if you're excited to see the next character, be sure to smite that like button, subscribe, and sneak attack that notification bell. But until next time, join us when we slide into DemDMs. Bye, guys.
Bye.